here's my garden, and I've been working on making a new garden layout and using like a different system to organize everything. And I wanted to take out the oak tree, and I'll talk more about in another video about why I'm taking out the oak tree and doing a new garden layout. But this oak tree right here is giving a lot of shade, so I'm going to cut it out, and the Vanilla Orchid is on it. And we have other oak trees, so I still have someplace else to plant it, but I need to transplant it. So it's pretty big. It's probably like 5 feet long. The main issue is that it's really hooked into the oak tree bark, like it's in there. This part I think had some dieback this winter. My soursop too also had a lot of dieback. I guess we got really cold this winter, this past winter from 2021 to 2022. And I'm gonna be like taking some big cuttings and potting them up so it could root again, and it'll attach to another tree, because I'll put it right next to it and then it'll just attach on its own. But it's very in there, so I'm gonna be trying my best to get it out. I'm gonna try to cause minimal damage. I'm gonna be using this and just trying to cut around and get the roots out. Look at that right there. It's really in there. It's just in all the little nooks and crannies. So I'm gonna try my best. When I did plant it, I don't recall if it had roots or not, but it doesn't seem like it really needs to. But I'm gonna try to keep like small pieces of root like that, at least as much as I can. I'm gonna try to keep on it. So there's a root in here. I think I'm going to start from bottom to top, so that it can hang on the tip and then not flop over on me. So I'm going to detach it, and then I'll show you the cuttings I'm going to make. So here is the whole plant. That was actually a lot faster than I had anticipated. So I'm going to be probably doing, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 cuttings, big ones. So it had like 2 branches, this one, that branch, and another branch. But the left one, it only has leaves up at the top. Lizard egg. The lizards lay eggs in the mulch all over the place. So this piece here has this really long root. I'm gonna leave it this side, so I think cut right there. So now I have this plant. so thick, the stems. And the roots kind of broke a bit, so I'm gonna just trim them up so that there's not a bunch of like open wounds all over. See, like this root, it just kind of like split. So it's like this whole thing is open. Don't want to leave that like that. So here's the cutting. The top. You could tell sometimes the way vanilla orchids grow is kind of confusing, but if they like flop over, but you could tell which way's up by the little cup on the leaf. There's like a little hole right there. If it's upside down, it doesn't have that. I'm not sure what to do about this because it doesn't have leaves. I guess I could try to take a cutting and plant it. Maybe it'll grow leaves, but this has leaves, so I think I'm gonna focus on that more. So I'm gonna just be planting the bottom part in a mulch inside of a pot, and then the top part just laying it on the tree that I want to attach to. And this has a good amount of roots here that were in the soil, so I think that it might do okay if I try to plant it. Like, it might grow leaves. So I'm gonna just try. Doesn't hurt to try. So here are the cuttings. They're pretty long. Probably like a foot and a half. Well, I have decided that I'm just gonna put them all into one pot so that I can baby them. And then when I see that they have new growth, I'll take them out and transplant them directly into the ground next to the tree I want them to grow on. And when I first planted these, I just planted them in mulch. So that's what I'm going to do again, but in the pot. And just like this material is what I planted them into. Just a bunch of mulch. So I think I'm gonna kind of like layer them, so I just put one down, and then I'll put another one down. Might pull some of these leaves off. Let me just cut them. For me, these vanilla orchids are more like of a hobby plant. I don't really expect them to produce anything or really do much of anything except grow. Because I think it gets just a little bit too cold here. Sometimes it'll get into 35 around there in the winter, and that's just too cold for them. But it is unique and it's fun to have. If I had a greenhouse, then it would probably be doing better. So I'm just circling the stems. That's how I originally did it. Oops, I broke it. So just kind of burying these stems in there. And when I planted it, it did really well. It was a pretty tough plant. And just gonna put a bunch of mulch in here and water it really well and put it somewhere with a lot of shade. And just take care of them because they are gonna be stressed now after this. They don't really need soil though because they're air plants. They have aerial roots. Pretty neat, the aerial roots, to be honest. Quite enjoy that. There's just so much like material here from the oak tree dropping tons and tons of leaves. So this will probably be a few weeks before I start to see new growth. But with patience, it'll happen. Especially now that summer's coming, they should be doing well because they won't be too cold. Back to square one. I planted the vanilla orchid, I don't know, maybe 3 or maybe like 4 years ago, and it was about 5 feet tall. So back to how it started now. Back to square one.